In this video, I'd like to share some tips with you. If you are struggling to cope with the inability to concentrate while going through grief, I'd like to share some tips. Okay. My name's Ghazala at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here for the first time, welcome aboard. Pull up a chair and come sit down and let's have a chat. Okay, so the first tip I'd like to give you is if you're struggling to cope with, the inability to concentrate, would be to firstly be kind to yourself, to cut yourself some slack, to be gentle with yourself, sometimes I feel that people have this negative voice, sort of this narrative going on that, things like, get a grip, and you should have got that done by now, and you should be doing this by now, etc., etc. But give yourself a break. The reason why you're finding it difficult to concentrate, there's a reason for it. The reason is that your brain is trying to cope with what has just happened. The fact that you've gone through some loss and you've just experienced loss, and your brain is trying to process that. So the reason why parts of it aren't quite functioning properly is because we're trying to heal. The brain is trying to heal itself. So you need to allow that to happen and be forgiving. Be forgiving to yourself. If you have a task to do, for example, if it might be something that you wouldn't normally find difficult, or it would be just an everyday task. Like, for example, if you had to check your inbox for your emails, let's say you've got lots there and you can see that there's lots there. Don't look at them, try and think about them all together. So break tasks up into small, manageable sized tasks. So you might think, I'm just going to check 3. I'm going to check 3 emails, and then I'm going to move away from the computer, from the laptop, and then come back to it. And you might think, well, that's going to take me ages. Well, that's okay. That's okay. There's something else going on right now. So you can allow yourself more time to do things, and that's okay. And just be forgiving. Yeah. And you'll find that, your body and your brain will thank you for it. So I would say that's something that you need to think about. It could be difficult, but try, if you can, to create a routine, some kind of routine. And it doesn't have to be that, it's regimented and you have to follow it. And it doesn't need to be like that, but just having some kind of structure in the day would be helpful, can be helpful. It just helps put things into perspective, and helps you sort of get on track and sort of ground yourself. So I would say that's probably a good idea too. Finding some kind of routine that works for you is a good thing. Take frequent breaks from tasks that you are doing. Don't try to get the whole task done over a long period of time. Just step away from things and allow yourself time. And again, things are going to take a bit longer, but that's okay, because something else is going on right now, and you need to address that. You need to prioritize what's actually happening. Okay. Writing things down is quite important too. It's a cathartic process. It can be a cathartic process, which means that you can offload, and the process of actually sitting down, especially if you're actually writing and using paper and a pen rather than, and you see that I've got a pen in my hand because I love to actually write things down on paper rather than, probably giving away my age, but that's probably why I don't, type everything up. I don't have everything on my phone. I keep a hard copy of a diary, and I like the process of opening that up and writing things down, and that just helps me. So journalizing is a good thing. especially if there's lots going on in your head and there's a lot of noise there, to write things down is probably a good thing. It just offloads. It's a way of offloading, and that's quite good. A lot of people do use that method at night, before they want to try and get to sleep. If it's very busy, there's a lot of traffic in there, then to write things down, get it off your chest, and then hopefully you're a bit better at settling in and going to sleep. So that's a good thing. That's a good practice. It's something that lots of people do, and it works. The other thing would be mindfulness, to think about some techniques that you could do. And there's lots of apps these days. There's Calms, there's mindful apps that you can go into, which are completely free, and you can have them on your phone, and you can sort of go into them now and again. I could share something with you now. There's the 5 senses mindful exercise, where you just sit quite comfortably. You can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then you think of 5 things that you can notice, that you can look for in the room that you're sat in, that you might not have noticed, up until now. So just think and have a look at 5 things that you might notice in the room. It might be a crack in the ceiling, or a bump in the floor, or something that you didn't notice, or a mark on a wall. It could be just something small, but 5 things that you can see. And then you take a deep breath in and a deep breath in and exhale out. And then you think about 4 things that you can hear. Yeah. And then 3 things that you can feel, perhaps. And then 2 things that you can touch. And then 1 thing that you can taste. So what you're doing is you're using I'm not sure if I use those in the right text, but you can actually get the apps, and there's lots of, if you go into YouTube and put 5 senses technique, it will bring you lots of those little videos to help you. There's also the box breathing or square breathing, which is quite good. If you ever feel sort of slightly overwhelmed and your heart rate's going a little bit high, and you're sort of getting a little bit breathless, it's a good idea to do the square breathing or box breathing. And again, you can go into YouTube and look for videos on those. But I could go through one with you right now. So you imagine a box in the air. So you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds. So inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And if you do that a few times, it just calms you down and regrounds you. And it's a good exercise to do for anybody, really, even if you're not experiencing grief or anything. It's just a good way to recenter, reground, and bring yourself back to the moment. And things with when you think about mindfulness techniques, it's all about bringing yourself into the present moment, because the moments that have just passed have gone, so you don't have those. And you don't have any moments in the future. You've only got the now. Every moment is a now. So just to concentrate on your breathing just brings you back to the present. Yeah. So that's a good little tip. Think about limiting. Think about limiting distractions. So that could be notifications on your phone, just saying that another email's coming. You possibly can do without that, because anything that's important you will get to hear about, and you possibly don't need those to add more noise that you already have. You could probably do without that. Yeah. So maybe just turn off notifications and anything like that might just bring on more anxiety that you don't need right now. You need to give yourself time with grief. I tend to I've shared in other previous videos where in the morning I sit quietly somewhere, usually in my son's bedroom, and I allow myself a check-in with grief, a check-in with myself, see where I am on that. I see grief as on a continuum, goes up and down. You might be feeling quite good one day, the next day you might be not so good, and third day you might be, really at rock bottom. So it is a continue, and to keep an eye on that is probably a good idea. So you need to give that some importance as well, and really sort of focus and allow grief to, usually people sort of talk about grief as if it comes in waves, and it does. And when that wave comes, ride that wave. Don't sort of try and suppress it. Don't push against it. Allow yourself to ride it and work through with it rather than against it. So I think that's important. Talking to anybody that you feel comfortable talking with is important. And it doesn't have to be the same person every time. It doesn't have to be one particular person. It could be anybody. It could be a family member that you feel really gets you, and you have that deep sort of understanding and that mutual understanding. It could be a friend. It could be a counsellor. It could be professional support. And if you are really, really struggling and it's been going on for quite some time, it'd be a good idea to sought professional support, and don't be ashamed of asking for help. Anyone could need help at any time. So it's important to be kind to yourself in the way that you might to admit to yourself that, well, I think possibly I need some professional help here. I don't think I'm coping quite by myself, or simply talking to someone isn't quite doing it. But otherwise, talking and having someone listen to you does allow you to offload. You might think, oh, well, what use is that going to be, because I'm still going to have all the same situation that I had before I started talking. But the actual process of talking is a way of offloading and a way of sort of relieving and mitigating some of those grief symptoms that you might be actually experiencing. Okay, so that's quite important. The other one is one that we always hear, we always talk about, is looking after yourself physically, is eating as healthily as you possibly can. Any meal that you have, you're mindfully eating it. You're not sort of mindlessly eating as you sort of walk along, passing the kitchen. You just put something. That's not really that good for you as far as your mental health goes. It's probably good to, sit down and treat mealtime as a ritual, that you are thinking about what you're doing, and you're putting some nutrition into your body, which is fuel, and it should be good fuel, so that you feel your optimal self. Especially when you're healing from something like loss, and healing is a continuous thing. Not that I'm saying that you get to a finish line with that and you've healed. It's a continuous thing that you probably we need to do. Well, I know that I need to do for the rest of my life is a healing process. So it's something that we need to keep on top of. Keep hydrated. Make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids and you're not getting dehydrated. That's important. Also, I would say exercise. It doesn't have to be that you need to go and run a marathon, or you need to, go to the gym and swim, 50 laps, length. It's not about that. It's just gentle exercise is good enough right now. Getting some walking, maybe some gentle yoga, or some stretching is actually quite good. It releases those endorphins and helps you to sleep. And sleeping is something that we need to concentrate on as well when we're healing, and otherwise as well. Sleeping is a really important thing for us to function. For our cognitive functioning and physical functioning, we need enough sleep. So whatever that is for you, whether that's 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, it's important to make sure you try your best to get that, and allow yourself time, and then having a ritual around bedtime is a good thing, because you're sort of telling your brain that now it's time to stop and to sort of unwind and start relaxing, and it's time for rest. Again, if you journalize just before you go to sleep and get things out of your head onto paper. That sometimes really, really helps. And for now, that's it. So I hope you found some of these tips interesting or useful, or something. Maybe I've shared something that you hadn't thought about, and that's a good thing. If you feel that someone else would benefit from the content in this video, please share, please comment, share, and like, and subscribe. That would be great. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you. See you again.